James is in Nashville to start off this hour. Hi, James. How are you?
Pretty good, Dave. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So my wife and I actually got married back here in October, actually in Nashville, right on the water under the pedestrian bridge. But that obviously equals joint finances now. So my wife went to occupational therapy school, and she's a pretty big student loan from that. So her student loans are around $177,000. Obviously, with the Biden plan right now, there's no interest accruing. They're public loans until September 30th as of now. At that time, so before September 30th, we would have the ability to pay them off in lump sum, so just pay them off in cash. So I'm just wondering if that's the best thing for us to do. We would be able to build up a emergency fund pretty quickly, so we'd be okay. But it's a lot of our non-qualified assets going towards the student loans. So just looking for your perspective around this.
Wow. Well, congratulations on the marriage.
Where
did all these assets come from? Where did this money come from?
Pretty fortunate, pretty blessed. So I work in the financial industry. I have a pretty decent income, and I've been investing since I was about 16 years old. So just over time, able to build them up. And we also have a decent amount in our qualified retirement asset, a Roth 401, and a Roth IRA as well.
How old are you guys?
I am 27. My wife just turned 26.
Wow. And what's your household income?
Household would probably be for this year, let's just call it 300 conservatively, 300 grand.
You guys are killing it. That's what I smelled. Good. I'm so proud of y'all. Well done.
Appreciate that.
Fabulous income. Okay, so let's kind of play these two things out. One is you wait till September, and then you pay it off. Two is you pay it off today, correct?
Correct, yep.
Okay. And so the difference is what you would earn on the money between now and September.
Correct, exactly. Opportunity cost of capital.
Exactly. I got the same degree you do. And so we're talking about, depending on how it's invested, 6 months? And so $8,000.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So all of the data that we have on building wealth is based, the people that have built wealth have followed a set of principles steady, and they haven't found shortcuts. And the way you and I are trained academically, our mind leads us to, my wife calls it scheming and scamming. We're always trying to figure out an angle because we know so much math. It's the curse of the math nerd. We know so much math, so we have an advantage, but we know so much math we can get caught up in the analysis and almost get paralysis of the analysis instead of just going forward and driving the car correctly. Does that make any sense to you?
Right. It does make sense. And I should have expanded on the question, too, because we're looking at opportunity cost of capital now, but we're in this weird time where there's no interest accruing on these public loans given COVID.
I know.
But the rate is high. So it's 8% when it does turn back on. So
So you would pay it off. It's like someone that makes $50,000 a year has a $10,000 furniture bill 90 days, same as cash. Do we wait 90 days and play the float, or do we just pay it off?
Right. Or, and I'm sorry if I misspoke, do we refinance, which is probably a big no?
Yeah, it would be a big no. We're not keeping this around.
September 30th.
Because, again, there's no data that says I got rich because I kept refinancing my student loan debt. There's just no one has ever done that in the history of mankind. It runs around in our math brains because our math brains. But so here's what I end up doing. If I run the numbers down like we just did, and all of my gyrations make $8,000 and you make $300 a year, that's telling me that I'm working too hard at this situation. And I need to just go with the smart common sense principle because the actual math doesn't amount to squat. If it amounted to, if you made $50,000 a year and it amounted to $50,000, then we'd have to talk about, well, do we screw around with this a little bit, you know? But this is $8,000, which honestly, you could have made that while we were talking about it.
Right. I guess it's a psychological factor of
Exactly.
I build up this non-qualified nest
Exactly.
egg, and I can pay off these loans, but then a lot of that
you're gonna pay them off.
Nest egg goes away.
Every bit of intellect tells you got to pay them off by the day that first interest is due. So our only real discussion is now to September. You know that part.
Exactly.
You've already made that decision, and you can argue yourself down off that ledge. I don't have to do that. So you could do whatever you want to do. I have had a good benefit of breaking my math nerd self over into grandma's common sense and going, I'm getting this crap out of my life while I can. I got this beautiful woman, and when I look at her, I don't want to see student loans.
That's exactly right. And they make so much money. As he said in his own words, we can build up that emergency fund so quickly. But, Dave, this is where we get to the politicalization of psychology, where we say, oh, well, they might pay them off. They might forgive them. They might kick the can.
There's no program where they're forgiving
I know.
Well, not any that have been proposed yet.
Not yet. But
for $177,000 for people that make $300.
Right.
They've only been for up to $50 for people who don't make money.
That's right. But the politicians
say
things
if you're an evil
like,
rich person making $300, you're screwed by the Democrats.
Oh, yeah. So it's just better to get it out of the way and not hope that something happens. Just get it out of the way, knock it out. And I get it. It's a straight psychology play.
Yeah.
Because he's made good money. He's been really smart. It's also painful cutting a check for $177,000 too.
Well, it's like I have a 0% interest loan on my car. Mm-hmm. I don't, but I'm saying people call that question. Why would I pay that off? Because it's not going to be 0% when you're done. If you keep screwing around with this, you're going to end up getting hammered one way or another with these people. And, oh, by the way, it's not 0% because the only reason you get 0% in the car lot is if you pay full sticker price, and only idiots do that. You never pay full sticker price for a car, ever, unless you're trying to get a 0% loan. So by translation, it's not 0% because you paid a premium for the car. Back that out as your interest rate. That's just how things work in the real world, y'all. Okay, so, it's like, I think if I could just refinance my credit cards and get them from 18 down to 14, I'd be able to break through this thing.
Sure.
4% on $10,000 is $400. You can't buy a biscuit, dude, for the amount of math gyration you're screwing around with here. It's just, and that's, if you back it down into real nominal dollars, folks, when you're looking at these things like we did with him, like James, because James is a very smart guy, obviously, and dumb people don't make 300 usually. And so, usually. But yeah, I mean, if you're not careful, you get in your own way. You step on yourself. So I pay it off is what I do. Today, by close of business, I'd be debt free. That's what I would do if I woke up in your shoes. This is the Ramsey Show.